Welcome back to Soul Said So. I am your lovely host, the Mystic Mover. And over here, I help you every week. I want you to get out of your mind and to get back into your soul. And what better way to do that than to focus this week's episode all on shifting your perspective? So, in the past week or so, I've really been reflecting on perspective. Perspective is so important. And as I'm reflecting like years back, I don't know what it is about this current energy, but lately I just been really revisiting parts of myself. Like I've got into this moment where I was asking myself, okay, how did I land in these footsteps? Am I okay with where I currently am? Am I happy? Am I satisfied? Or do I want to change? Or what changes would I need to make? And what habits have I carried over a certain amount of time? And one thing that I noticed is there's so much power in perspective. And I downplayed how I was really looking at things. I carry this all or nothing way of looking at things and attitude. And that is something that I am actively working to break. So if you don't know what an all or nothing attitude is, for example, for me, if I can't do it how it's supposed to be, like, I don't want to do it at all. Like if I'm gonna put out a product or I'm gonna create something, I want it to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then I don't want to do it. And sometimes that can mean getting frustrated with the process to creating whatever it is that I'm trying to create. And creating for me has not always been creating something that you can see. Sometimes it's something that I can feel, which means creating a different emotion on the inside of myself so that I have a new way of feeling, being, thinking, existing, living, these type of things. So I have been really focusing on what perspectives I've been holding towards myself, how that has influenced where I currently am. And we're going to talk about that today. So when I really started thinking about perspective, first of all, defining perspective for me, because I like to define things and then break it all the way down. So perspective, I've learned via Google, is how a person thinks about life, ideas, and problems. Now, when I'm looking at that, I go a layer deep, okay? And the word that stands out to me in that sentence is think. In order for me to think, that means I need to have the ability to first see. This what I mean in my own personal life. Whenever somebody asks my opinion on something, like would you do this, would you do that, I can't even think of a specific scenario in this moment, but and so with this whole perspective thing, if perspective is your ability to see, because before you can think about life, an idea, or a problem, you normally, it comes into your vision or it comes into the aura of you, and you have to then, connect back with it. So in order for me, if we're talking about my ability to see, that determines what I notice. And depending exactly on what it is that I choose to notice, that now influences what I expect, what I conclude as possible. And that's all boiling down to what I allow in my life. So, for the soul check in question of this week, I want to ask you, what have you been seeing lately? What in your life have you been seeing the most of? And I don't mean with your physical eye. I don't need a description of the things that you're seeing as you're moving through life. How are you interpreting your progress, where you currently are, interpreting interactions with other people, interpreting what this season of life means to you? What have you been seeing? Have you been seeing redirection, or are you seeing rejection? Are you seeing failure, or are you seeing information? What you choose to see, regardless of what you have, you do not have, what your circumstance is, whatever, what you choose to see, remember that it influences what you're going to expect, what you're going to conclude as possible for yourself, and what you're going to allow in your life and allow yourself to respond to. So I'm a glass wearer, okay? Glass wearer, meaning I wear glasses. My vision is poor. Please do not take my glasses. I'm the girl from Scooby Doo. I don't forgot her name. They just said I cannot think of her name right now. But is it Velma? Did that just download? I don't know. I don't want to be wrong. Anywho, I'm her all day long. Need my glasses. Please, where are they? Give them to me. And one thing I notice about glasses is the lenses on the glasses get dirty even when you don't remember doing anything. All you know is in a moment where you're trying to see something clearly, you notice a smudge, a stain, or you notice something that is impacting the way that you are seeing what you know you should be seeing. Okay. And for me, with my glasses, it could be, it's something as simple as me pushing them up, in the moment, unconsciously pushing them up, and it bumping my cheek. Now I notice it a lot. And I have the smudge here. And why that's important is because life does the same thing. There are going to be times where we know we put on our perspective a certain way when we woke up. But as we move throughout the day, there are going to be things that are going to smudge it, that is going to require us to clean it, to reset it, restart, in order for us to have the clear vision that we are desiring. I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to look through no dirty windshield. I'm not anything that's supposed to be clear, that I'm supposed to be able to see through. I don't want nothing in front of it because that's going to distract me. That's going to get on my nerves. And so now you have to start looking at your perspective and thinking of your perspective as a lens. What lens are you allowing yourself to look through? How clean is it? Is it blurred? Are we dimming down the vision in the moment where it should be bright? How are we moving and operating through our lenses? And I ask you this because your lens is what you carry every day. Your emotional lens, your mental lens, your physical lens. You have so many different lenses that play a part in what you're going to expect, how you're going to conclude certain things, especially as it relates to what's possible for you and what you're going to allow. If you are not constantly paying attention and noticing, oh, there's a smudge. A smudge could be something as simple as somebody has said something to you that caused discouragement. Somebody has done something. Maybe somebody's not supporting you in the way that you need to be supported. Maybe it's your own internal self. Maybe you have been putting in the work in certain areas and you have not seen yet the results that you want to see. That could be a smudge. And so, with every day and in every moment, even when we're not aware, we are receiving unconscious smudges that we are responsible for cleaning up in order to maintain clear perspective. If I start to internalize a consistent amount of no's, not yet, let's say friendships that are ending, let's say a lot of things are not going the way that we probably expected or that we want. And we start to label that as rejection. Now we have a smudge on our lens that we got to filter out. Because if we do not filter out that lens and reframe what's actually happening, eventually we're going to lose the ability to perceive hope. And you need hope, honey. You need hope. Because when you hopeless, honey, it is tough. It is rough. And not only not having the hope is tough, but not having people around you to pour hope into you when you can't even pour it into yourself, that's even more of a reason to make sure that you're intentional about not losing hope. Because it is very difficult to try to get hope back on your own. It's doable and it is possible, but it is extremely difficult. It's draining. It pulls the life out of you. You're going to need every ounce of the best parts of your perspective in order for you to remain and stay strong, to embrace what life is revealing to you, because life is pushing you into a certain direction. It doesn't always feel like that. Sometimes it feels like you're taking 10 steps forward only to take 20 steps back. But this is what they call the dance of life. You dancing with life. Just because you were able to advance in one stage and you have to take a setback in another stage does not mean that you are going in the opposite direction. This is a part of the process. This is what the process looks like and feel like that a lot of people do not get to talk about. We only see what happens when they made it through the process. So, what you are doing today, like right now, today, in your everyday present moments, you are creating your future. And you cannot spend a lot of time wishing that you have done things differently or wishing that things were different. All you can do is focus on what you have in front of you. Pay attention to the smudges that are on your lenses so that you can go back and you can course correct. If I'm dealing with thoughts of being overlooked, if I'm dealing with thoughts of abandonment, if I'm dealing with not only the thoughts but the experiences, I have to make sure that I filter out every one of those experiences. Yes, it can be overwhelming and difficult, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if you don't do it when you need to do it, it's going to catch up to you in a moment where you don't have enough strength. So you have to, with every experience, start filtering out and just asking yourself why. What don't I like about this? Why? What am I feeling? First of all, there's a lot of times, a lot this year, I've spent so much of this year asking myself, what is it that I'm feeling? Because I feel the disconnection. I am so connected to my body in this year. I can feel it in my chest when something's off. And I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm not conscious that something is around me is happening energetically, but I can feel it in my body. And now I need to connect to my body and understand what is this that I'm feeling. And for me in this year, a lot of it was grief. I carried a lot of grief. Grief for things that didn't happen, grief for just myself, grief for life. I was grieving so many different things. And I'm starting to understand now that I was grieving the old version of me because so much of my life was changing, so much was just shifting. And in this shift and in this process, it was not a pretty one. It wasn't like, you think when you're going into from your old life into a new life that things are happening on such a positive level that you can identify it. No, for me, it was the opposite. Things were being snatched and pulled away from me, almost to the point where I didn't know who I was anymore. And when you are experiencing that, it can be extremely difficult for you to make sense of what's happening around you. And tapping back into your body, asking yourself, what is this that I'm feeling? Let me put a name on it. And if I can put a name on it, let me now start sourcing back to where this is coming from. And what you're doing throughout that process is starting to, one, create awareness, and two, this is going to allow you to release. We hold on to a lot of things and we don't realize it. But when we hold on to those things, guess what happens? Your perspective is now off. Now you have a different lens on. Whatever emotion that you're carrying that you're not aware of, you are now within that lens. You're going to now operate from whatever that lens, however that lens is affected. And it can happen in so many different ways depending on the circumstance or the situation. You're not going to be able to think beyond what you've allowed yourself to notice. And consequently, I try to say this slow because I felt it coming out crazy. As a result, here you go, try it again. We start to rob ourselves of so many different possibilities that exist. Do you know how many possibilities exist? No, because when we're dealing with our mental perspectives, at that time, we're only looking at one way. Either we got what we wanted, or we didn't get what we want. Either we felt good enough or we didn't feel good enough. We're not taking into account how many other possibilities could actually be possible for us, or why something didn't happen in a certain time frame that we wanted, or why something is not moving at the speed that we think that it should be moving. There's so many other possibilities. Maybe you saved yourself from a major car accident. Maybe you saved yourself from a major heartbreak. Maybe you saved yourself from overwhelming stress. Or maybe you just saved yourself from losing yourself even more and being real confused and being real like just want to give up and being too scared to ever go back because it became so traumatic. There's always a reasoning for the redirect if we are open to the possibilities of it not just being because that there's something wrong with us or something wrong with the process or the path. Perspective for this year has been so big for me because I've always, I call it a victim mindset. A person who has big dreams to do big things, not just for myself, but for communities on a big, large platform. And when you move through so many different stages of your life, and you are Xing off boxes like, okay, we did this, we did that, we did that, we did that. And then you still looking at how much more you have to go. The perspective for me, I started being very ungrateful. And I had to stop doing that because now I'm not only I'm pointing fingers at, purpose not happening and three fingers are pointing back at me because I have to allow purpose to happen. There are certain things underneath the surface, layers. This thing called life got layers. Do you feel me? It has layers, and each one of these layers are dropping off something different into you, revealing things that you can't see because you're always the one spinning the wheel. But sometimes we tend to look at a lot that we've done as little. I sit back and look at myself. I'm like, bro, I've done some major things in my life. I don't know why in the world I won't give myself credit for those things. And if what I came into conclusion of this past week, it doesn't matter what you get, you're always going to want more because that's the person that you are. So it is better for you to start learning to accept and embrace what God has placed in your presence right now. You're going to forever want more. That's just how God created you. That's just how it's going to be. So there's no need in us looking at the greatness that we have already done and equating it to not being enough. It's never going to be enough for you, babe. I just had to be honest and tell myself that like it's never going to be enough for you. I'm always going to want more. I'm an ambitious person. It's just what it is. So in this place and space in my life, I'm finding a lot of gratitude in what God is allowing me to do, even if it's something that I feel. So when I say, even if it's something, I'm trying to make sure that I word this in a way that you understand it, even if it's in smaller spaces, because I'm a big girl. I like to do big things, shine the lights on me. But then I understand that there are some seasons where God doesn't fully put you out onto a certain spotlight. He puts you in a place where you are able to get the coursework, the development, the structuring for crossing over into certain spaces. Because I've been in the spotlight and I've been not in the spotlight. And what I can tell you is when that light is on you, it's not no going back. You either ready or you not ready. You either finna get chewed up or you finna get out there and fake it till you make it. And I don't want to fake nothing till I make nothing. I want to be purely authentic and purely ready for what God has for me, right? Okay, so getting off of that, I want to give you some journal prompts because I want you writing. I want you connecting with your body and connecting with yourself. Let's figure out where your perspective is so that we can start making sure that that perspective is going to help you with your future. Like, is it best for your future self? That is what I'm stumbling to say. Okay. I don't want your perspective to be based off past experiences, off of past things that has happened, negative things, parts of you who you are not even anymore. Okay. I want your perspective to be your like you in the car, you looking for. We ain't looking in the rearview mirror, we're looking straight, we paying attention to what's in front of us. Whatever back there, oh well, I hope it's CB coming. Now, the first journal prompt question that I want you to be writing and reflecting on is, what is life repeating back to me? What are the patterns of your life? What situations keep happening where you like, oh man, this is the same situation, just a different person. Same situation, just a different environment. What is that? That is something that life is wanting your attention. It wants to shape your perspective. It wants to work on whatever that is. Journal prompt question number 2. What is life teaching or asking me to learn? So what is life teaching me or asking me to learn right now? And I want you to go as deep as to say what areas. Don't go writing a whole bunch of areas. There is one specific thing that is on the forefront of your mind that you are burning to understand. There is one thing or one situation that keeps repeatedly happening to you back from journal prompt number 1, whatever that was. It's probably over here. Because life is trying to teach you something. It's trying to have conversation with you. It wants to know what you have learned so that it can bring in more experiences to either help you move further along the learning curve, or we can start offering you some new experiences to put what you've learned into practice. And for journal prompt number 3, how do I embrace what life experiences are communicating to me? There are going to be some times when life communicates to you something you don't want to hear. You might not want to develop your relationship with a parent. You might not want to confront a family member in your life that really is hell on wheels. But these experiences are showing up in your life. How do we embrace them versus resisting them? Because if you resist it in this way, then it has to circle back to you and show it to you in a completely different way. So now it's not a parent, now it's not a family member, now it's a relationship, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a work relationship, whether that is um, just a random stranger on the street. Whatever it is, it's going to circle back to you. So I'd rather you learn a method of embracing whatever this lesson is that life is trying to teach you so that you can implement it across the board in your life. The quicker that you learn the lesson, the faster we can advance to the next grade, okay? So I hope this episode has helped you in some way, shape, or form. If it has, I do want you to stop and share this episode with somebody who you think needs to hear as well. We are all about shifting our perspectives. Why? Because we want to live better lives. We want to live intentional lives. And in order to do that, we have to understand what that looks like. So yes, go ahead and share this episode with whoever you feel needs to hear it, or even for yourself. Save it, bookmark it, and I want you to make sure you do them journal prompts because it's very, very important. Now, come on, we just listening, we doing the work. But that has been my TED Talk for today. I'm definitely excited to get on here every week and speak with you guys. The next few episodes that are coming up, I really want to get deeper into this thing, y'all. I'm learning so much, and I want to do my journey of learning with you because that's really what this is. And as I'm learning certain things about myself, I'm hoping that by sharing my experiences, talking about my perspectives and what life has been teaching me to you, that it also helps you on your walk and your path because I'm all about that. So until next week at 11:11 a.m., peace, love. I was going to say peace, love, and hair grease. Okay, we're not going to do that. But peace and love. See you next week.